Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovias inside Eford Studios, downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. You and I have been getting the Kyocera some work thanks to tax season.
I don't know how normal people make it through tax season without Copiers Plus. So please do your small business a favor. Go to copiers-plus.com.
It's funny. I use TurboTax still because I insist on doing it myself because it's like a puzzle to me. I like to see how things work. All right, so how does this work? TurboTax has gotten very, very good at my basic ass tax preparation. So when I logged back in, it was like, oh, based on previous filings, you'll be in and out of here in 45 minutes.
Oh,
and I went, joke's on you, TurboTax. We are going to be here for a while. And sure enough, I did have to use the Kyocera because you'd be proud of me because you know how I try to get very digital, but I had to print out a bunch of stuff, all the paperwork. So I had it everywhere.
No, sometimes you got to hold it and feel it and see it.
Yes. Hey, wait, what are we talking about again?
Paper.
Okay. Just making sure. So they can help you out for your small to medium-sized business. Check them out at copiers-plus.com. So, Joe, let's go ahead and start with the biggest question of the week. The biggest question coming out of the weekend: can Scottie Scheffler repeat what Tiger Woods was able to do? Can he win 15 majors, Joe, after winning his second Masters in 3 years in dominating fashion? Is he the next big one?
Certainly not in terms of personality.
Sorry, I had to get that out of my system.
Certainly not in terms of personality.
Because we do this in golf. It's like a guy wins a couple majors, like, there it is. It's the Leo meme. Boom, there it is. He's gonna compete for the majors record.
You know what's funny is I didn't take Scottie Scheffler to be the Leo meme of the weekend.
No,
I took the young Swede, Ludwig Åberg, to be the meme. Because we love the next hot shit.
We do.
That's what we love.
We do.
Right? Like Diana Taurasi was recently talking about this, where she was like, why do we love like young phenoms in women's sports in particular?
Well,
meaning like why? And like now, like she's like, I'm like one of the best to ever do it, but nobody cares about me anymore. That was essentially what she was saying.
No, she's right.
Right? But she's like, we love phenoms. But that's also true in men's sports too, especially individual sports.
Oh, yes.
You know, Carlos Alcaraz right now in tennis. Oh, no, we found him. Because we all want to be Columbus. We all want to discover America, right? I'm watching Åberg and I'm like, God damn, this guy is talented. He's so, like, I would give almost anything to be that talented.
I told you about him.
And you want to be able to say, I told you Åberg is the guy.
Yes.
And it's like the tour. If you've learned anything from this weekend, there's a lot of really good players on both tours. You know, I think we went into this thing like I'm
sorry, Joe. Who actually finished in the top 5 of the Masters?
All PGA guys.
Oh, but interesting.
Koepka was out to lunch. Neiman was a guy that people were like, he's another young guy.
I have a theory about that.
Who's the next hot shit too.
Mm-hmm.
I just think there's a lot of. I think it's really hard. So that's where we should first take a look at Scottie Scheffler and go, if it's really hard, and this guy has been able to win as many times as he has in the last 3 years now, that's really impressive. Like that should be the number one takeaway.
Mm-hmm.
But number two, it's just like you can eat now, especially in the age of gambling, which we'll get into. It's really easy to look at Scottie Scheffler and be like, where are those Valhalla odds? What am I doing? How do I get, I even texted my friends. I'm like, I don't think he wins in Pinehurst. I don't. Okay. Even though his short game is amazing. I don't think he wins in Pinehurst, but I think he probably like walks at Valhalla, which as a golf novice, and even I'm a golf novice, Valhalla is set up for someone to shoot like the winning score will be like 24 under.
Okay.
Like someone's going to blast through that thing. Rory is the type of player who wins there. Bombers are the type of players who win there. And obviously Scottie Scheffler is a bomber, but I think the PGA is going to be set up to be really, really good. And then I think we're going to get, the classic, which is what we had this weekend in Augusta, the true test of golf, Joe, the putting.
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting there, you're watching and you're like, wow, Bryson DeChambeau, I fell for it. I had him. I had my ticket. Hammers the ball, just hammers it. But every single tournament is won 100 yards and in. And that's where Scheffler truly made his money this week. And And the young King Swede, man, like he has that short game, but he fell apart on the one hole, knocked one into the water there. It cost him, but you see the poise and the makeup. And that's where, if you want to bring this back to Tiger, the makeup of Tiger, and we get all this, he was so guarded kind of coming up. It was tough to figure out what was real and what wasn't.
Sure.
That there were parts of the HBO documentary that people didn't like, and then there were parts that I found that were just fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
His dad tormenting him in the best way possible. Let's just say, I will say in the best way possible on the course. His dad tormenting him on the course the way that he did.
Okay.
Not the other stuff, but on the course, the way that he prepared him.
Yeah.
By basically talking during his backswing, jingling change, basically talking trash to him while he was on the tee box. Mm-hmm. Prepared him and put him in a mental place that we haven't seen the likes of ever.
Yeah, that's
what I mean.
That's always been the fascinating thing about golf. And I have built a reputation as being a guy who really doesn't give a shit about golf for a variety of reasons.
Sure.
But the one thing that I've always appreciated about golf more than any other sport is as individualistic as it is. It's you versus the course. It's you versus yourself.
Yes.
Tiger Woods added another element to it because Tiger ended up becoming an outside distraction force at major tournaments. You hear this all the time about the galleries. Well, now you got everybody watching you if you're playing with Tiger. It's not so much, I got to compete directly with Tiger. You got to compete with everybody also watching you. On most days, you're probably by yourself if you're just a kind of average golfer. You might have some stands out there. I get it. But not that gallery when Tiger's with you. And then, of course, there was always you hear, people talking flowery about it, the Wright Thompson-esque poetic discussion about the roar from the gallery because Tiger Woods just did something. And then that adds extra pressure to you. So that's why Tiger to me has always been such a game changer in golf because he added an external factor to something in golf that you already had to battle inside yourself, right?
Yeah, there was a Mike Tyson effect there too.
A little bit. So the mental aspect of golf has always fascinated me. It's where you can be Colin Morikawa and be was he tied for the lead at one point and then just fall apart, right? You can be Bryson DeChambeau and be in the mix most of the week and then just go. And then for Scottie Scheffler, a PGA guy, by the way, to still be locked in the entire time is pretty freaking impressive. And I know there's an eye roll inducing aspect to bringing up the fact that the people who finished atop of the leaderboard were PGA people as opposed to live people. I understand why you might want to kind of like, oh, okay, whatever.
I guess from my viewpoint, the war's over.
The war is over, but here's what I find interesting.
The war is over and nobody won. Well, that's the shitty part to me.
The war is over and ultimately golf lost.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think most people went into the Masters weekend kind of confused as to, wait a minute, who is XYZ? But I do think that events like this further crystallize a point that I've been making since this all started with LIV. When you go to a tour that does not ask you to compete, it'll eventually catch up to you. When you do find yourself in a situation where you do have to compete. These are no-cut events, shotgun starts, teams, vibes, money. You've made it, right? Golf, like any other sport in the United States, is you have a process of this. You get cut. You might not be on the tour. You lose your card. There's an event. I have to qualify. When you eliminate that from your diet, it will catch up to you. It will. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are. It will eventually catch up to you. And I do think that those effects have been seen at events like the Masters. There will be events like this that you'll see at the U.S. Open when it comes to Pinehurst. When you are used to just traveling and being an exhibition, when it comes to competition time, when you got to go out there and win, when you got to like, oh shit, the pressure's real. I want to win this. Well, then you see that manifest itself with some of the results that you've seen and why you've seen Scottie Scheffler win. I do think there's a factor in that. You mentioned Tiger Woods. Him making the cut was impressive, man. I mean, I know he finished last, but the fact that he made the cut in the first place, given the state of his body, the fact that he hasn't really been able to complete events for the most part, as you'd like to point out, the amount of walking that's necessary at a course like Augusta. Look, man, people say move off Tiger Woods. I don't think his story is necessarily done here in that he can still do this from time to time.
It takes it takes the ultimate test of golf to bring the older players in. I told you this when Phil Mickelson won the PGA. The reason Phil Mickelson was able to win the PGA because the winning score was like 3 or 4 under.
Mm-hmm.
The lower the score, the better the chance the older player has. So Tiger's going to show up at Valhalla, and I would be surprised if he makes the cut because it's going to be a birdie fest. It's going to be fireworks.
That's fair.
It's going to be showtime.
That's
okay.
Fair.
But in Pinehurst, it wouldn't surprise me if the winning score in Pinehurst is 6-7.
Yeah,
maybe. So it's just going to depend. But some of that's a function of, are you Tiger Woods? Some of that's a function of, again, the sharpness that you talk about. He played 23 holes in one day.
Mm-hmm.
That was more than he had played in like the last calendar year.
Yeah, a little catch up.
23 competitive holes in one day. And it was the most he had played in a calendar, combined in a calendar year. I look at Tiger Woods. He's my age, 49. The only thing I have in common with Tiger Woods is that we've had 2 of the same surgeries.
I was going to say, the thing you guys have in common is your bodies are breaking down in real time.
The only thing we have in common is he's had 2 of the same surgeries.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And I can tell you, every time I watch him, I'm like, see, and I didn't nearly lose my leg the way that he did. Those are different surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of watch him and I marvel. And people are like, oh, can he win? Can he do this? And I'm like, guys, the fact that he's out there. What's crazy about Tiger, and you saw it a little bit on the first day, he can still putt, man.
Mm-hmm.
And what a gift to be able to putt like he's the best putter in the history of the sport. No matter what you think of Nicklaus or whether you think Tiger's the greatest to ever do it or not, he is without a doubt the best competition putter of all time. It's not even close.
When we talk about golf, and when I have to talk about golf, it's brought to you by Rowback.
Yeah.
Or as Chip Patterson.
Rowback. Oh no, Chip likes the other one.
Rowback. You don't know me like that. He went full ludicrous on you. So check out Rowback, RHOBACK.com. Use that promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order. When we talk about golf, it's brought to you by Rowback. They've got great performance attire, right? You can call it athleisure if you want.
Sure.
It's basically stuff that you can wear in multiple settings.
I was going to say, I want to emphasize.
I love.
I was going to say, I'm going to emphasize here that you'll never wear a golf shirt, but there are plenty of things from Rowback that you would wear.
The hoodies,
the
shorts,
pants, shorts.
Yes, the joggers are money.
Yeah.
So here's where I'm at.
I also want to stress this too.
Yeah,
because I know there are people who are like me, who do like golf stuff. Like Rowback, I haven't seen that in stores. No, you haven't, because they're direct to you. You have to go to rowback.com in order to get their goods. They do some stuff down in Pinehurst too, so you might be able to see some stuff down there.
Sure.
But for the most part, you have to order it from them. Trust me when you do, and you use that code. Ken already has a hoodie.
Nice.
And he was like, Ashley wants my hoodie, and I got to get another one.
Is that not the sign of the best hoodie? It's like your significant other wants the hoodie.
Steal it.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's probably the sign of a good hoodie. No, but the point that I was making is that I'm at a point in my life where I need my clothes to be multi-purpose.
Yeah.
Like something that's casual to wear here. And all I got to do is maybe change my shirt out, and then the joggers will work to go out, that kind of stuff. That's where Rowback excels. So again, check them out. RHOBACK.com. Use that promo code OG20. One last point about Tiger Woods. There was some, it's a good sporting event when you get the memes, and Tiger Woods was part of a meme because it was like a random handshake that emerged from behind a pine tree. Do we know who that was? We don't know who that was, but I saw that people were making all their jokes, and it very much looks like something environmentally friendly. As I jokingly posted on Threads, this is how I feel every time I fill up my stainless steel water bottle that I've had for 15 years. I haven't chased trends. I have the same damn clean canteen that I've had for 10 to 15 years. I got a bunch of stickers on it, although it's currently in my car. But see, I'm doing this now, thanks to Leanne for providing the water. But I feel terrible. But when I refill my water bottle, that's what I feel like, Joe.
The best tweet I saw was when you go paperless.
You do feel like you're doing something environmentally friendly.
Shake.
There you go, nature, the earth. We're helping you out here. One other thing that happened from the Masters yesterday, because it went a little bit late, it caused a delay in the start of the Billy Joel Madison Square Garden show on CBS.
Look at CBS knowing its audience. What should we?
No,
put
but
on?
here's the thing.
What should we put on after the Masters?
They don't know their audience. So here's the thing, Bill. If you're not familiar, Billy Joel.
If you're not familiar, old white people enjoy golf and Billy Joel.
What? So Billy Joel's been doing this residency at Madison Square Garden now he's done 100 shows. All right. Are you familiar with the residency?
I have to interject real quick.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because you know how things pop in my timeline.
Of course.
And recently, Patrick Beverley, the NBA player, was asked who are the blackest white players in the NBA.
Jeez.
So he's going through the list and he's talking about Alex Caruso. And he was like, he's into that white boy shit. He likes golf, but he'll still put a headband on and dunk on you. And I was like, so you saying Billy Joel is following the Masters is like the all-time list of white boy shit.
It is. So CBS had been promoting
IBM stock. What?
No. Please show me your Costco membership while you're at it too. Do you have a Kirkland signature to go with that? I know you do. Chilio's turning red if you're not watching on YouTube. So
okay, I got it.
Good. You got your water. So CBS has been promoting this show that was recorded back on March 28th, which was Billy Joel's 100th show at Madison Square Garden, since they'd been doing this every month for like the last, I don't even know, it's like almost 10 years.
Hey,
now.
yeah, my wife's brother, my first wife's brother stole all my money, so I'm going to play until I die. Yeah.
They glossed over that fact.
Okay.
They glossed over the fact that the reason why this residency started was because Billy Joel needed the freaking money.
Yeah, as I explained to James recently,
yeah.
Don't ever sign away your power of attorney.
No, dude.
Ever.
No.
Ever.
So he's turned it into a thing. I've been to one of the shows back in 2019. Kelly and I went. That was part of our 40th birthday extravaganza. And Peter Frampton was the guest that showed up. It was also Billy Joel's 70th birthday party that day and all that kind of stuff. It was a fun time. So, of course, if you know anything, Kelly's a huge Billy Joel fan. I've seen Billy Joel a whole bunch of times.
Did you go down to the Winston-Salem show?
Went to the Winston-Salem show. Also went to the one in Charlotte 2 years ago that was postponed thanks to the pandemic. It kept getting postponed, but they kept the date and everything else. Billy Joel essentially does the same set because he can only sing certain songs at this point in his life. Right. But that's not going to stop Kelly from wanting to watch it.
Sure.
But the Masters went late. So it was supposed to start at 9 o'clock. 9 p.m. Supposed to start at 9 o'clock. Of course, because the Masters pushed everything back, you got to get that episode of Tracker in.
Okay.
Dude, I have not watched
regular garden variety
regular TV. Over-the-air television.
Oh, is Tracker the one with Queen Latifah?
I don't think. I have no idea.
Okay.
The garbage that is currently on over-the-air television scripted shows. I was like, people watch this shit?
No.
What?
Actually, they don't.
Actually, they
That's
don't.
the problem.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Can I get back to watching X-Men 97?
Wait a second. Wait, why wasn't 60 Minutes on after?
Don't know. So they pushed this all back. So CBS, in order to catch back up on time for things, pushed the Billy Joel show back to 9:31.
Okay.
All right. So this was scheduled to go, for X amount of time. Typically, when things get pushed back, the local news also gets pushed back.
Sure.
Not on the East Coast.
Uh-oh.
So
what'd they do?
In the middle of all songs, Piano Man. This is from Awful Announcing because they pulled the clip. And this is a hell of a caption. Evidently, CBS was no longer in the mood for a melody. Whoever wrote that tweet, give him a raise because that's a freaking bar. So here's what ends up happening.
And the piano sounds like marble, and the microphone smells like a beer. And they sing it
live from CBS 4. This is your news now.
Kelly was pissed because it went to CBS here, 17.
Oh.
I mean, that's not Heidi levels, right? It's not Heidi game levels.
Right.
But man, you're in the middle of Piano Man? Like if you wanted to do if he was in the middle of Allentown, all right. River of Dreams, get that shit out of here, right? River of Dreams, well, it's the middle of the night, blah, 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 blah. All right, go to the news.
Yeah, in the middle of the night. That would have been perfect.
That would have been perfect.
In the middle of the song.
But in Piano Man?
There's nothing sacred.
I mean, is it his most overrated song? Yes. But it is a crowd pleaser that he usually does at the end of the show, and that's what you bounce out of? CBS, man, what are you doing? That
Plus,
reminds
it was taped. You could have manipulated or edited earlier in the show.
That reminds me of the time I've told this story before, but it's worth repeating today because it ties into CBS. This is not the first time they've done this. Do you remember like 20 years ago, there was a mini series on CBS about Jesus?
Is this following the Mel Gibson movie? They were trying to cash in on Jesus?
I don't know if it was the Mel Gibson era of cashing in on Jesus, but so it was this mini series, whatever, and it's this huge event, and they cut away from golf.
Ooh.
So that they get, there was a weather delay or whatever, and they cut away from the golf tournament and say, oh, we're going to be putting it on the Golf Channel or something. I forgot where they were putting it, but it wasn't on broadcast television because CBS had to get to Jesus. So they cut away, they go to Jesus. This led to my former co-host back in the day at 850 The Buzz, 620 The Bull, Morgan Patrick. He used to go by the moniker The Sports Pig. And he would do this thing called Grade Out Monday. I mean, you want to talk about peak benchmark radio.
Yes.
So Mondays, get the phone lines popping. Give me your grade out. You know, who gets the pigskin dunce cap of the week, right? So Morgan gets it going. And he gives his A's. All right, it's like, all right, time for my pigskin dunce cap. I'm giving it
straight up Jesus.
Just goes, I'm giving an F to Jesus. Now he gave context. But of course, I think it was Russ Henry who did this. Russell the Love Muscle.
Yeah.
We used to do people dirty back in the day, man, with these clips. Out of context promos.
Yeah.
So we just took the clip.
Give it an F to Jesus.
And it was, gotta have my sports pig. 6 to 8 on 850 The Buzz. Morgan Patrick clip. I'm giving an F to Jesus. 850 The Buzz. We would do that shit
bang
all the time, man. I mean, I did that to Gold one time. We were taking calls. This is back when I was a producer. We were taking calls or whatever. And Adam just decides there's a longtime caller whose name is Dick. Dick Hodgen. He's actually he's a music producer in the area. He's got a studio space in downtown. And Dick was a frequent caller. He's one of these obnoxious Duke basketball fans. And I forgot, right? I forgot
Duke fans.
I forgot what the topic was. But he, Gold just goes, all right, let's go grab Dick in a car. Oh, I wrote that down.
Mark the tape. Clip save.
Mind you, this is back when it used to be called the G Spot. So hit the G Spot 3 to 6. Let's go grab Dick in a car. 850 The Buzz.
That sounded like Tudor more than Gold.
Yeah, my Gold impression's not very good.
Housekeeping.
Big thanks to Enovana. They'll be out to the house tomorrow. Check them out, enovna.com. Green cleaning, they will get it done for you. If you just need a one-time cleaning, I know it's spring cleaning time right now. You're getting stuff out of the house. You're trying to get things settled. And when you realize, oh man, I've kicked up all this dust. And what about this particular area? You can just get a deep clean from Enovana that one time. But I highly recommend that you set up a recurring cleaning to keep things on the level.
Do yourself a favor.
Do that at enovana.com.
I was going to say, do yourself a favor. Go to their website. Simple to use, easy to use, effective, and you'll see all kinds of different options for the best way to clean your house. And hit the jingle.
Let's hit the jingle, shall we?
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
A little bit of housekeeping. I put the Facebook invite. I also put it on Instagram. It's official. We will be at Shady's Bar in Garner Friday, May 3rd.
It's our birthday.
It's the OG birthday bash.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Technically, we've already hit our 4th birthday.
We did.
It'll be our 4th birthday plus 41 days, but it'll be marking a year of OG Triangle Media.
Yes.
So we'll be at Shady's. It'll be a good time. We're going to have trivia from Sporkle.
Okay.
Jason's gonna be doing it. OG Scoreboard's gonna be out there doing his thing. We'll have raffles. We've got bourbon. We've got a Seth Jarvis mixtape that we're gonna give away, a signed mixtape that he did for us last summer. and a lot of fun. Breeze Through is going to bring their food truck, Oak City Grill. But the purpose of this is just to hang.
Yeah.
It's just to hang, and the trivia and all that stuff will be fun. And hopefully, who knows, maybe the Canes will be on the road and we'll have a Canes playoff game to watch on a Friday night.
I would like that.
That would be a lot of fun.
I'll like it either way.
So all that happening May 3rd, Shady's in Garner. And we can't do this. And the reason why we're having this is because it's a good way to just say, hey, let's have a gathering for the listeners. People have been on us with this journey. It's a lot of fun. Speaking of people who have been with us for a while now, a corporate champion, he is Matt Davis, State Farm. Check him out online, insuregarner.com, voginsurance.com, or call him directly at 919-779-8277. Save on your home and your auto. And this week, Nature's Relief will have their grand opening of their new store on Western Boulevard.
Yes.
They're open right now, but the big grand opening event will be taking place on Saturday. But have a lot of fun, a lot of education, so you have an understanding of what Nature's Relief does. Check them out online at naturesreliefhempstore.com. Relief is spelled with a leaf, like as in the plant, L-E-A-F. So naturesreliefhempstore.com. You get a lot of information on that website, but better, go to their stores. They've got 2 locations in Raleigh. They got one in the G, and they've got people there that will help you identify what you're trying to accomplish. That's the big thing about Nature's Relief. You need a deeper sleep. They've got CBN for that. Are you looking for something that's a sessionable drink to kind of give you an alcohol alternative? They can talk to you about that. Are you Joe Giglio and you're constantly applying things to your neck? They've probably got a cream for that. So naturesreliefhempstore.com. They've got their grand opening event on Saturday.
Speaking of housekeeping.
Yeah.
May 16th, we will be doing the OG Live.
Love it.
From Nature's Relief, their new location, to celebrate their opening. So I'm looking forward to it.
Should be a lot of fun. So Scottie Scheffler wins the Masters. He was the favorite.
Yes.
There's been a trend. I think you were having this conversation on your G4 gambling group chat, weren't you? Please repeat what you told me earlier before we hit record.
Yeah. So Dave Portnoy, Barstool Sports, is in line to basically make $4 million in the last 2 weeks.
Good for him.
Because he bet on UConn to win the tournament.
Ooh.
And Scottie Scheffler to win the Masters.
Yeah.
Like the old axiom, it takes money to make money, right?
The Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
But it did get me thinking, is this the year of boring? Have we officially hit the year of boring?
Probably, yeah.
Scottie's personality aside, he was the favorite. The first time the favorite has won the Masters since 2010.
Yeah.
Right? UConn was the betting favorite going into the NCAA tournament. That doesn't happen very often.
What was South Carolina in the women's tournament?
South Carolina, the betting favorite.
They were the betting favorite
to win the tournament, the women's tournament. We also had the Chiefs, who are the most boring team in the history of football.
Stop it.
Like, let's convert on 3rd and 100 by Patrick Mahomes scrambling. Oh, yeah, I'm the greatest coach and player ever.
Imagine how exciting
If only.
Imagine how exciting they'd be if they had Tyreek.
They could have dropped the hammer. The Michigan Wolverines were actually not at the beginning of the season, but at the beginning of the playoff.
Yeah.
They were the college football playoff. They were the favorite to win the college football playoff. So I think we've officially hit the year of boring. Or the year of favorites, depending on how you want to call it.
Yeah, it's not boring to watch.
Oh, come on now. Jim Harbaugh is boring as shit. The nervous bird, come on. That was boring. I had a Michigan ticket and it was boring.
But so there is I would hammer down on the year of the favorite because
UConn was kind of boring too. Because they just dissected people.
But some people think
like that.
There's like watching people play at a high level, watching a team operate at a high level. Do you think Carolina fans back in 2009 thought that was boring?
It was historic. Carolina was really good in 2009.
They were.
Yeah.
They were. They hammered people.
Yeah.
But your point is, they dissected people. It was boring. No, they were favorites. If the Carolina Hurricanes get to the Stanley Cup as a favorite, because they're the betting favorite.
They are now the betting favorite.
Is that boring?
Probably not, because we like it.
Okay, then. Okay,
it all depends on your point of view.
So just say they're the favorites. That doesn't mean it's boring.
As a gambler, though, it's boring. It's boring. As a gambler, it's boring. I had a UConn ticket. I had a Michigan ticket. I did not have a Scottie Scheffler ticket.
Well, it's interesting. I went to the live betting on DraftKings. Use the promo code OG24, by the way. when I was on DraftKings, I checked out the live betting for the Masters, and Scottie Scheffler was up. It was like I think he was through 6 and he was up 1.
Mhm.
I think he was at -7 at that point, and it was still plus 180 for him to win. So I put $5 down on that, and I also had like some sort of opt-in ratings boost, so I put it up a little higher.
See,
So I ended up making like $45 off that. They also had Colin Morikawa at like incredible odds when he was 1 shot off the lead. Of course, that was $5 that I just lit on fire.
As I tweeted yesterday, as long as these apps continue offering winner without Scottie Scheffler, I'm in.
Okay.
Because I grabbed Oberg yesterday at 6-1, which made me happy.
The thing is, though, you're coming at this from a gambler's perspective, and yes, favorites winning isn't exactly
Favorites winning is boring.
Isn't exactly, but on a normal people. Okay.
Normal people can appreciate greatness.
Yes.
Normal people can.
Normal people like me
people can
appreciate greatness. So yeah, the Chiefs doing it again with everybody going, there's no way, there's no way, there's no way. That's pretty damn impressive. Okay. UConn going back to back.
I just grabbed the Chiefs ticket, by the way.
Good for you.
Finally.
Which means they're not going to win now.
Finally.
They're done. Chiefs Dynasty's over.
They finally convinced
Taylor
me.
Swift might as well break up with Travis Kelce right now after you. They might after you took that ticket. But like UConn winning back to back is pretty freaking impressive.
Well, you can be boring and impressive. Okay. 2 things can be true.
All right. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about the Canes, though, and this is something that, as we approach the last week of the regular season, are people prepared for the Carolina Hurricanes to be the favorite? Are you ready for this? Because in the last couple of years, the Canes have been great. People like Rod Brind'Amour. There's some good storylines, but there's always been one particular issue, a key injury.
Yeah.
Right. That's been the biggest thing. They've never had a crack at this thing at 100%, knock on wood.
Yeah.
There was a moment last night with Peter Kochetkov that I was like, damn it, not now, Peter. Kochetkov. Anyway, point being, you have to go back. Even in 2006, they were dominant, but nobody actually bought the Carolina Hurricanes.
No, because the Red Wings were still there.
Okay. So this is for the first time, I would argue, the first time the Carolina Hurricanes are going to go into the postseason as the team that people go, hey, man, they're the team to beat. They're the Vegas favorite. Sarah Sivian, who hopefully we'll talk to later this week when she gets over her allergies, wrote about it for Bleacher Report. The Carolina Hurricanes go into this postseason as the scariest team in the NHL. I don't think fans are prepared for this. And this is something that I think is good in the grand scheme because you have to elevate the way we talk about the Carolina Hurricanes. If they don't make it to the Stanley Cup final at 100% health, it will be a disappointment. Getting to the Eastern Conference Finals will not be enough for this team. But with the regular season coming to a close, is there still a chance they can win the President's Trophy? And to follow that up, do they want to win the President's Trophy?
Yeah, I was doing some math this morning because I was worried. I was legitimately worried. But then I talked myself off the ledge.
Okay.
Because as I said, Scottie Scheffler was the first favorite since 2010 to win the Masters. It can be done.
Yeah.
Right? All of these other favorites. If it's the year of the favorites, then you might as well be the favorite. Okay. So first of all, the task at hand is to win the President's Trophy, right? Because we think it's a little bit of a jinx.
What, 2013?
You have to go back to 2013.
Okay.
But so first of all, you have the Rangers right now with 112 points. They play the Senators. You have the Stars with 111 points. They play the Blues. And then you have the Canes with 111 points. They play the Blue Jackets. So obviously, if the Rangers win, via con Dios, they're the President's Trophy winner. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
The Rangers get 1 point or lose, then the Canes can win, and the Canes would be the President's Trophy winners for the first time in franchise history because the tiebreak goes by regulation wins.
Okay.
Okay. So the Canes have the most regulation wins with 44. That's the business end of it. Now, the President's Trophy jinx, if you will. In the last 18, so let's go back to the year the Canes won it in 06.
Mm-hmm.
Of the last 18 President's Trophy winners, you are more likely to lose. You are twice as likely to lose in the first round than you are to make the Stanley Cup final. There have been 6 teams since 2006 who have lost in the first round as the President's Trophy winner. There have only been 3 that have made the Stanley Cup final, and only 2, Chicago in 13 and Detroit in 8, who have won the Stanley Cup while being the President's Trophy winner. So it's possible. But if you look at the last few, Joe, Boston last year lost in the first round. Florida in 22 lost in the second round. Colorado in 21 lost in the second round. Boston in 20 lost in the second round. Tampa in 19 lost in the first round. First round, second round, second round. You have to go back to the Rangers in 15 to even find a team who made the conference finals.
Jeez.
So it speaks to the nature, as we like to talk about, the voodoo nature, the vibes of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
When people say it is the most difficult trophy to win, there's a reason, because you could be good, as we're going to read in a promo. You could be good in the 82 game preseason, but that don't mean a whole lot once the money's on the table. In the Canes' favor, we've begged and pleaded for not only their best players to be healthy, but their best players to be their best players in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
We got to go back again to Rod Brind'Amour, because you got to tell me when Sebastian Aho's played better in his life. He's off the charts right now.
Well,
Seth Jarvis off the charts right now.
Off the charts.
And I get it. There's a Gensel factor in there, but you want your best players to be your best players. Aho and Jarvis have just been lightning in the last 6-7 weeks. Aho even back to the beginning of January. Aho's been at a different level. The key, obviously, for them is to bring that level that we've seen them elevate in the regular season to the postseason. And there's no reason to believe that they won't. There isn't a single reason to believe that they won't.
You know, last night against the Chicago Blackhawks, it wasn't the prettiest game for the Carolina Hurricanes. After the match is wrapped
up, they had to play one of those former goalie things.
I know. So
always lurking.
I flipped it over, and they kind of sleepily got past. The final score is not indicative of how that game went. But at the same time, I give the Canes a little bit of grace, because it's hard to get up for a game against a team that's out of playoff contention. I mean, what a Chicago.
It's an AHL team with Connor Bedard.
They threw, 51 points with just Connor Bedard on there, right? So Chicago's just not good. It's tough to get up for a game like that, knowing you're also seeing the end of the regular season. It is a grind. We get all that stuff. But the one thing I don't doubt for the Carolina Hurricanes is what Rod spends the entire season talking about. You have to play a particular way.
This is the process.
This is the process. They are being themselves. And the big bet is that they will be themselves once they get to the postseason at 100%. And they're going to get to the Stanley Cup final. And they believed so much so that they went and did something uncharacteristic at the trade deadline, and they went and got Chris Gensel in a deal that made a hell of a lot of sense for him. Because let's go back to that trade deadline. It's not like they had to give up a ton to get Gensel,
right?
With the possibility that Gensel might even re-sign with the Carolina Hurricanes going forward. So that's why I am truly fascinated by this upcoming postseason for the Carolina Hurricanes. And people's butts are going to be clenching tight for this group.
Oh, just because they're the best team and just because they're the favorite does not make it a walk.
It does not make it a walk. Don't
expect that.
The one thing that I've been screaming about this Carolina Hurricanes squad, and there are various factors as to why we didn't necessarily see it in the postseason, is can you finish? Cool that you've peppered the goalie with a bunch of shots. You can give me the natural stat trick website analytics about high danger chances. Blah, 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 blah.
Your favorite.
All you're doing is putting the puck in the gut of the goalie, all right? And yes, you did run into a hot goalie last year, but we also understand that they weren't at 100%. They needed somebody to finish. They have that now, okay? Everybody's elevated their game up. Goaltending's at 100%. They have it all, which means people are going to get really, really nervous, and it's going to be really interesting and fascinating to watch. But speaking of things getting real, the preseason, the preseason being over. Welcome aboard, casual NBA fan. It is your time to shine. So head on over to DraftKings, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. They are an official sports betting partner of the NBA. And you can do the play-in tournament all the way through the finals. DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered with same-game parlays, live betting, odds boost, and a lot more. I mentioned the odds boost earlier. I logged into the app when I was watching the Masters just to kind of get a feel for what golf gambling. I know you're all in on the golf gambling. So I wanted to see, all right, what does this all look like with the updating live odds and whatnot? And they had an odds boost. And that's how I did the Scottie Scheffler thing and made a little money back on my $5. So you can do all these things with DraftKings in the NBA. I've done it with the Canes in game, just seeing where they're at. Like, oh, is it tied one piece? I still think the Canes are going to be fine. Let me see where their odds are at, right? All that stuff can be done, and you can do it with the OG24 promo code. Just use that promo code OG24, and new customers will get $200 in bonus bets when you place a $5 bet. So again, bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's using the promo code OG24 only on DraftKings. Got a gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook/NC. I have the Heat. What do the Heat do when they're in a play-in?
They make a run.
Exactly. So the Heat, I'm putting money down. I'm gonna put my $5 down on the Miami Heat.
The only question I have for you is, did you text our friend Nada, who actually does follow the NBA?
I have not yet.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. So I have a NBA futures bet for you.
Okay.
What I want you to do is I want you to take the exact matchup, because first of all, Nada's like, I think the Nuggets are probably going to repeat, but there's some other ways to go about this. So here are two scratchers that I put in place, because while I've said to you, well, man, this is a boring year. It's the year of the favorites. So just take Denver or the Celtics, right? That's probably what you should do. That's what normal people do. It's not what I do.
Okay.
So I took two different exact matchups. Okay.
Yeah.
I took Denver to beat the Philadelphia 76ers in the championship. And then I took the Mavericks to beat the Boston Celtics in the NBA championship. How you like that?
I like that.
Okay.
That's a good one.
So you can pump up your odds a little bit. Because right now, and I mean, stop me if I'm a broken record today. Boston's plus 160 to win the tournament. Like, get the hell out of here. What kind of odds are those? Even Denver as a repeat, plus 290. Denver just had a problematic loss to the Spurs. It was a classic obvious, though. Like, really, we're going to overreact to a game 81 losing to the Spurs after having a 23-point lead. But my people are demanding the baseball play of the day as well, Joe.
Okay.
And I have one of those. How long did it take me to recover? No, it was planes, trains, and automobiles for me. Let's be clear. It was a challenge
back to the Final Four
for me to get back from the Final Four.
Oh, sure,
right?
yeah.
But I mean, I'm still trying to adjust my clock. Okay. The Padres played last night. They beat the Dodgers late. I say late our time. The way that travel works in professional sports, yes, you're on a charter flight. I get that. But they left LA last night and flew to Milwaukee overnight, and they're sleeping right now in Milwaukee. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But they play the Brewers tonight. You can get the Brewers as a home dog against the Padres. You can get plus money on the Brewers tonight to beat a sleepy Padres team. Give me the Brew Crew at home, plus 105. Joe Ross has been one of their better pitchers this year. He's a Haas, 6'4" monster out of Berkeley. Go ACC.
Big thanks to Hometown Realty. Saw the sign. I see it every Thursday now when I'm off to the Garner Polar Ice House, and I see the big sign for Hometown Realty. They're going to help you out.
You know what's funny? You said this. Now I'm in Garner, so I see that sign all the time.
Sure.
Or if I go down to Riverwood to play golf, you're going down 50.
Yeah.
See all their signs all the time. No big deal. Was over on the way to a Canes game the other day. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you know where I was going? I was going to the OG epicenter over on Lake Boone.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I pass on my right the Whole Foods.
Mm-hmm.
That whole shopping center. And all of a sudden I look to my left in Fancyville, And I go,
Oh,
hometown realty is in fancy areas too? I was like, of course they are.
so
Of course they are.
I was having a conversation. It was my
They've got
mom.
everything covered.
It was my mom's birthday on Saturday. My brother was in town, and we got onto the topic of people selling their homes and stuff like that, and some of the crazy prices. As the real estate market around here has continued to stay hot compared to other markets. This is where Hometown Realty can help you out. So check them out online at myhtr.com. Again, that's myhtr.com. Let's say you bought a house, you sold a house. Maybe you find yourself in a refinance situation. Whitaker and Hamer can help you out. WH.lawyer. Take that thing to closing. Whitaker and Hamer has the people all around North Carolina that can help you out. Multiple offices across the triangle. So WH.lawyer. And speaking of the Lake Boone epicenter, you can check out Two Roosters Ice Cream while you're in that Lake Boone spot. I went to Two Roosters on Saturday night. It was my mom's birthday. Hadn't gone. She had not gone yet. I'm like, all right, let's go to Two Roosters. They've got the Kid Chef menu items right now.
I texted Jared and I told him, you need to put Lincoln on the payroll.
I did not go with Lincoln's flavor. I went with Molly's Puppy Chow Delight. Third grader Molly came up with this chocolate base with pieces of Puppy Chow, Muddy Buddies.
Yeah.
Mini chocolate chips and peanut butter swirl inside of that.
Oh,
It was legit. It was legit.
you would have been so proud of me.
Yeah.
I went Friday
Yeah.
off of Person Street.
Okay.
I got 4 pints. I also got a nice sweatshirt, which you'll see this week on the OG. That smells like waffle cone.
So that explains the charge on the bank account.
That smells like waffle
I
cone.
was like, how much did you buy at Two Roosters?
We got to support our sponsors, sir.
I know.
So I got a sweatshirt that smells like waffle cones.
Amazing.
Unreal. Number one. I got a hat. Okay.
Yeah.
And I got 4 pints. The pints, I had to get the coffee bourbon. You know this.
Yes.
Okay. I can go there, but I cannot. I have to get my flavor.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the potato chip. I went for the potato chip. It's unbelievable. Seriously, he needs to put Lincoln on the payroll.
Yeah, I didn't try that one again. I love Muddy Buddies, man.
And Jessica loves brownie, so I got the Forest brownie.
Yeah.
And I got the other one that's one of my favorites, the cinnamon donut.
I also added hot fudge to my.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So now the pints, I gotta tell you, that's a really good deal.
Oh yeah.
The pints are a really good deal.
Yeah. So tworoosters.com, check out their rotating flavors and check out the Kid Chef stuff because they've got some
Get their swag too.
Really good concoctions. So we go from talking about gambling and our friends, our corporate champions over at DraftKings, to talking about the current state of gambling, sports wagering in our industry, and how it's affected some conversations. Hey, remember when we were on the precipice of this gigantic gambling reckoning in sports, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
We're just a couple of weeks removed from this.
Sure.
I mean, you had the Shohei Ohtani story, which that came to a close, and it's not being discussed in the same way it was discussed when the story initially broke. But if you kind of checked out and you didn't realize what's going on, this is from the Washington Post. Federal prosecutors charged Ippei Mizahara, longtime interpreter and close friend of Shohei Ohtani, with bank fraud on Thursday, saying he stole more than $16 million from Shohei Ohtani to pay off gambling debts. The indictment appeared to vindicate Ohtani in the scandal that has dominated headlines since the beginning of the baseball season, when the LA Times and ESPN broke the news that Ohtani's name was one of millions. That Ohtani's name was on millions of dollars in wire transfers to a suspected illegal bookie, Matthew Boyer. Remember, in California, it's not legal yet. In a news conference to announce the charges, the U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada said that a thorough investigation left no doubt that Mizahara had, quote, used and abused his position of trust to plunder Mr. Ohtani's bank account to the tune of $16 million. I want to emphasize this point. Mr. Ohtani was a victim in this case. And it makes a lot of sense. But that went away. And people were like, this is a byproduct of legalized sports gambling. And I thought at that time, and we didn't get too deep into it because we spent more time, rightfully so, talking about the NCAA tournament. When I initially saw this story, I was very uncomfortable. And I thought it was absolutely wrong for people to tie this story directly with the proliferation of apps and the availability and the ease in which you can gamble now across the country. Because it's not the same thing. This is a gambling addiction and extortion story, a straight up gambling addiction story. Because in the
larceny, I mean,
in the history of these types of things, the apps are not going to keep fronting you millions of dollars if you don't have the money.
they're not going to front you any money.
None. If I've learned anything from watching The Sopranos for the first time, okay, it's an educational experience. In fact, Kelly likes
Your
to
credit's
say,
good here.
like Kelly likes to say, she's like, I understand Giglio so much more now watching The Sopranos.
Ouch.
Because he's always hustling. He's always trying to find an angle to make money, just like Tony Soprano, right? Then we get to the prop bets. While the NCAA tournament was going on, we come to find out that Jonte Porter of the NBA, excuse me, got caught up in a prop bet scandal, and they haven't come to a conclusion on that. I know that Adam Silver, commissioner of the NBA, talked about it recently as they closed the regular season and talked about, look, that's a cardinal sin. You can't do those types of things. But in this instance, I didn't view it as some big, like, oh my goodness, this is what happens. You're getting in bed. You're going to get more of these scandals. To me, I say, good that they get caught, because that's the one part of the conversation that I also will get frustrated in hearing people talk about it. The legalized sports wagering is all predicated on this being real, that what I'm putting my money down for is real. And it's in the best interest of every sports book in America that's legal to make sure that this stuff is weeded out. This is why athletes cannot, like the NFL, they are very quick to shut that stuff down. Jonte Porter, that was monitored and it was kind of sussed out. That's good.
Think about how many thousands of individual props you can place. So that it was flagged for an unusual activity. That's the whole point. That when I say if the world was run by the people who run sports books, we'd all be a whole lot better off. That's what I mean.
Was it the Alabama baseball coach who got popped?
The Alabama baseball coach is the one who was on the phone with somebody in the building, and they were like, yeah, we're tracing that call right now.
Right.
Like, who are you talking to?
But that also gets to that also highlights how
in some random ass Missouri rundown what you're thinking, oh, there's no way. No, there is.
In fact, the prop bets are the thing that probably will raise the most flag, because it actually is a niche product in the sports gambling portfolio. This is something that I didn't realize until I started getting a little bit more educated about this and, partnering up with DraftKings. In college basketball, there were a lot of quotes given by coaches and players. And it was Tyrese Halliburton in the NBA had an absolute line when he said, "I'm just a prop bet," for a lot of people. But and again, I'm not trying to be insincere when I ask this question. What is the difference between your general attitude of being viewed as a product, as a prop bet, any different than how we talked about fantasy sports not that long ago? I'm pretty sure it was Arian Foster that essentially said, F your fantasy league. Like, I don't want to hear about how I cost you XYZ because I didn't get a final touch in the red zone or whatever it was. So this is just another manifestation of how we view athletes and how we put fantasy sports and gambling, and it kind of alters the way we talk about these things or we view these things. I don't see the difference. If you think that there's much more immediacy to it because of the prop, because of social media, I think there's more to be said about social media. And there are times where conversations are taking place on the national level that I'll listen to or read, and I feel like I'm the one who's taking crazy pills because I don't feel the same way, and I feel like there's almost a pearl clutching that's going on. To which then I ask the question, why is this pearl clutching taking place? And my best guess as to why we're here is because there are a lot of people in our business who are simply uncomfortable with gambling in general, which is fine. I am not going to belittle that. If you're uncomfortable with sports wagering, I have advice for you. You don't have to participate, which I think gets to the existential crisis. Look around. Where's the money? What's keeping this whole entire thing afloat right now on a national level? What are the leagues who were very against gambling for the longest time suddenly putting their arms around because it is the one thing they can try to extract money from? The advertising marketplace has crumbled. Media infrastructures are crumbling. The ownership's looking at television and the days of cable raking in the cash. the regional sports networks being this profit center, all that stuff is going away.
Yeah. And Tom Dundon has been dismissive of having a sports book. But the truth of the matter is, that's a huge revenue stream.
It is. So when you have this realization of, oh shit, what is out there that's keeping this whole thing afloat?
Yeah.
You understandably get a little uncomfortable because it has repercussions. When you're trying to chase that money, it then alters the way you talk about the games.
Yeah.
And it's something that I will admit, I have absolutely struggled and have put my foot down on how we talk about stuff. I don't mind talking about gambling. I like the entertainment value of it because it's just another form of entertainment for me. I'm not looking at this, like I talked about earlier. I'm just putting $5 down for shits and giggles. All right. I don't even necessarily watch the games. Oh, is there a 6-leg Nerfy bet? I'll check in the morning to see if that thing cashed. It's not all that different than playing the lottery, in my opinion.
No, it's not.
I just decided to pick these random numbers. I'm not staying up to watch the Cash 5 drawing. I'll find out in the morning if I won.
You're talking about generations who were ingrained in them.
Yeah.
I'm 49. So anything older than me and my age included, I remember being at the N&O and them saying to me, did you, I forgot what year it was. I mean, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, do you have a gambling problem? And I'm like, no.
That's a load of
it's like, no. I'm like, and it was like,
what's
this
your
whole
problem?
thing. It was like this whole thing.
Sure.
And I just, the attitudes obviously have changed rapidly in the last 20 years. But before that, yeah, I mean, it was verboten, just ask anyone who's ever covered baseball. When you walk in and there's this big sign that says no gambling and the whole thing. And now, while those signs existed and they were still playing cards on the plane and doing everything else, yeah.
Well, see,
that's kind of where I think the attitude, how the attitude changed. And you have to go back to the NFL. Okay. These leagues looked at the NFL's success and they said, why is the NFL successful? Well, the NFL was playing once a week. So you can look at it and go, well, they play once a week. We can't do that. We have to do something else. What else makes the NFL super successful? Gambling. Whether that's fantasy football or whether that's actually gambling on games, you cannot divorce the NFL's success as a hegemonic power now on the television and sports landscape without gambling being inextricably tied to it. You cannot. So these other leagues have wisely decided to say, how do we make our product more attractive for gambling? And that's where you get Nerfies. That's where you get first baskets. That's where you get anytime goal scorer. That's where you get to hit a home run. All of these other things, all of these props are tied to how do we make our sport more attractive to gambling? Period.
Maybe it's because I come at it from the perspective that I know the house wins. But there's a reason why Vegas looks the way that it looks. It's not all that different from going to Dave & Buster's and understanding that I can dump all the money into the skee ball. I'm going to get X amount of tickets, but I know I put way much more money into the skee ball than I am going to get for the puzzle box that I'll get out of the gift shop.
But if UConn and freaking Scottie Scheffler and the Chiefs keep winning, the house ain't going to be that happy, my friend.
Yeah,
I promise you.
I think they'll be fine.
You.
Big thanks to Breeze Through. Check them out, breezethrough.com. Breeze Through is going to help us out with the OG party on May 3rd, bringing their Oak City Grill food truck to Garner. That'll be a lot of fun. We'll be spending some time by the PNC Arena location as the playoffs get started up. We got to figure out what we're doing for the playoffs. How we want to handle the playoffs.
We're back on that after dark.
We might have to.
Narcotic.
I ran into Hayes at Longleaf Swan on Sunday and asked him about, hockey on the theater screen? Yeah. He's like, yeah, we'll talk about it. But in the meantime, you can get your tailgate prep. We at least have to do a tailgate, right?
Yes.
Okay, we'll do a tailgate. You can get your tailgate prep needs at Breeze Through right across from PNC Arena. Check them out, breezethrough.com. Speaking of things to tailgate with, you need to throw some stuff on the grill. It's getting warm. You're going to bring your little Smoky Joe out there. You can get the meats at
Just
the
don't let me
Butcher's
break
Market.
it.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. You can go to thebutchersmarkets.com. They've got a variety of different cuts of meat, different marinades. They've got prepared meals, which are always fantastic. I did the 5-cheese manicotti last time. I need to head to Butcher's Market this week to get some more pre-made meals. So it's all great stuff. All great stuff. And you can check them out online at thebutchersmarkets.com. And Mosquito Authority Pest Authority is sponsoring us. You can check them out online at bugsbite.com. They came by the house on Friday for the first mosquito treatment of the season. Very happy about that. That way I can hang out in the backyard, get some stuff done. I'd like the oak pollen to go away. But in the meantime, Mosquito Authority is taking care of the mosquitoes.
I did my first lawn mowing of the spring. And as I noticed, there's termite traps, faces, if you will, all around my yard to keep those termites away, because that's part of their new treatment to protect your house. All of the different ways: mice, termites, ants, bugs, you name it. They can moisture under the house, you name it, they can take care of it. Mosquito Authority, Pest Authority. It's bugsbite.com.
All right, let's get out of here on some Hey Joe questions. Actually, we don't have any specific Hey Joe questions, just general questions we've been getting that I'm just going to corral into a few. The first one is related to college basketball rosters here in the area.
Okay.
And my response would be, we still are waiting.
Yeah.
We're still processing who's leaving. We can then process who's coming in, all that kind of fun stuff. I know going into the weekend, we got some more announcements from Duke. Kyle Filipowski off to the NBA. Jared McCain off to the NBA. I think Jalen Blake's announced that he's going to transfer. I think Seth Trimble and a reserve were the only two guys from Carolina that have officially moved on or entered the portal.
We've had two developments recently that are now neck and neck from my least favorite things on social media.
And that is?
Number one, the completely contrived NFL concept of a player on a 30 visit.
Oh,
and people tweeting about it as if it's like a recruiting visit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. I think it's great that the Panthers have whoever in. You understand, they have to select them in a draft, right? This isn't Alabama on signing day, just taking the 5-star player. And I saw poor Adam Schefter, who's one of the biggest frauds on the planet, by the way. And I don't know why people give him any credence. If there wasn't more of a naked lie than Adam Schefter tweeting about Savion Jackson this week, you're saying to yourself, who's Savion Jackson? He's a defensive lineman for NC State, who I'm sure will go in the NFL draft because NC State does a wonderful job of developing players.
Sure.
But Savion Jackson being on a visit is not newsworthy in any way, shape, or form. And I thought I couldn't get more worked up about something than NFL 30 visits. Well, I don't know why I'm going full Chris Farley, but I am.
Down by the river.
So now my second least favorite thing of developments is some random fans being like, Jalen Washington, we really want him to stay. Let's use this tweet as a way to show love for Jalen Washington and how we really appreciate him. And it just goes through. And I've seen this for Duke players. I've seen this for Carolina players. I've seen it for some other colleges. And I'm just like, please don't ever tweet at recruits. Please don't ever tweet at recruits. And now it's not just enough to tweet at recruits. Now we got to tweet at guys who are already on the roster and be like, oh, let's show him because I'm sure Jalen Washington is sitting there going, I'm really on the fence about coming back to Carolina. If I get 1,000 likes, though, I will definitely drink that terrible soda. What are we doing? What are we doing? Please stop. Please stop. Please. I can tell you haven't seen this latest development of.
I haven't seen.
Let's show them our appreciation.
I told you, I'm trying to spend less time on.
I know.
I'm trying to spend less time on the internet.
I need to too.
Although
that's not about Carolina. And that's not about Jalen Washington.
No.
That's about the concept of thinking, oh, we're going to tweet at somebody, and this is really going to be how we get them back.
Yeah, that's there's a reason why Home Field has a shirt that says "Don't tweet at Cruz."
Right.
Okay. So it is what it is. And looking up at your smorgasbord of things on the wall, I see Kevin Keats. Congratulations to Kevin Keats, the Clarence Big House Games Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
I saw that from the NSMA. So that's very, very cool. There haven't been any more. There's no developments on the roster from last week, are there? I can't keep track sometimes.
Not that I've seen for any of our schools, to be perfectly honest. The Duke exits were right. That's what we all expected.
And expected. So we'll close on this. I said I've been trying to spend less time on the internet. I am. But that doesn't stop me from logging onto the internet, logging onto Twitter, and seeing this from Rob Doster, Field of 68.
Oh,
Mark Pope is going to kill it at Kentucky, and you can't convince me otherwise. He brought out the 96 team to the Bulls intro and then starts waving around the championship trophy. Don't you dare fire me up. And cool. The vibe's immaculate, right? And I tweeted this out because I had this thought. I'm like, okay, the 1996 championship. Okay, cool. I remember that team. You remember that team.
They won in Jersey.
Most people in our audience of an age range remember that team. The problem is that incoming freshmen were born around 10 years after that championship was won. So I come at this from a couple angles. I know what that was all about. That was one giant middle finger to John Calipari and what being at Kentucky's all about. Because remember, Calipari, his whole thing was putting guys in the NBA. He famously said, and I'm paraphrasing here, when they put 6 guys in the NBA, this was the greatest night in Kentucky basketball history. And for a while there, Kentucky fans were drinking the Kool-Aid because Kentucky was the center of the college basketball universe. But when you got away from that and you were not making you weren't going on these deep runs in the NCAA tournament, you want to win banners. You're seeing Duke do it. You're seeing Carolina do it. UConn's won 2 in a row now. Like, damn it, I want to win. No, it's been almost 10 years. I want another title. Give me another title. No, it's been over 10 years. Give me another title. Come on, let's go. Right? So Mark Pope just is straight up talking about, we're about putting banners up. Banners. Which then gets back to my initial thought.
We did get a question about this from Daniel.
Yeah.
Like, where were all the national people talking about how embarrassing it was for Kentucky to get the Heisman from all of these candidates? And obviously he's basically referencing any number of NC State searches, but
and that's why
this was their Sidney Lowe search.
And this is why, which had a John Calipari tie.
Calipari.
And that's why I thought it was interesting that they brought out the 96 championship team.
Mm-hmm.
It's the equivalent of bringing out the 83 championship team. Okay?
Yeah.
Mark Pope. I don't know how Mark Pope is going to do. All right.
His BYU teams could really score.
BYU under Mark Pope made the NCAA tournament how many times, Joe?
I think you said twice.
Twice. They were 6 seeds 2 times. You were like, damn, in that pandemic year, though. They got beat by St. Mary's in the first round of the West Coast Conference tournament.
Pandemic year, they were really good.
Yeah, and they got beat in the first game.
Oh, stop. That was the conference tournament.
But
and St. Mary's was good that year.
Whatever. But
I love pandemic what ifs.
I know.
That's right up there for me.
But I bring all this up. I bring all this up to illustrate the point from one of our listeners who admitted a very astute point. We're very, very selective on how we want to paint these situations. And even like Matt Jones of Kentucky Sports Radio was just like, yes. And I agree with Matt. Go make these coaches tell you no.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Go make them tell you no in the same way that Lee Fowler had to go and have coaches tell him no. That's what you have to do. That's your job. But once you get to that point, let's now settle back into expectations and ask questions like, damn, Kentucky had to settle for a former national championship player who's only made the NCAA tournament twice at his last stop and didn't exactly make deep tournament runs. If this were any other place, how is that handled? How is it discussed? But because we want to make sure that BBN likes us, we got to make sure that we're getting that sweet, sweet engagement from Big Blue Nation, baby. You then tweet stuff like, he's going to rock it there.
He's definitely going to make it.
Come on.
Does Mark Pope have a better resume than Lavelle Moten? No, come on. You don't have to look it up.
No, now you got me curious. No, now you got me curious.
How many times did Mark Pope win his conference?
Let's see. He was at Utah Valley. The best he was in Ken Palm was 92 Ken Palm in 2008, when they went 23 and 11, 12 and 4 in the WAC that year. That was the best that they were at Utah Valley. I don't know if they won. I don't know if they won their tournament at any point. Now you got me curious about this stuff as I go down the rabbit hole here. They didn't make the NCAA tournament in 2019, 18. They did not make the tournament in 18. They did not make the NCAA tournament in 17. And what do we got here? And they got beat first round Western Athletic Conference by UMKC. No postseason whatsoever. So yeah, so no, if I'm reading this correctly, no postseason at all at Utah Valley. And then again, twice when he was at BYU. To answer the question, does he have a better resume than LaVelle Moton? I would tell you right now, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. But I'm telling you right now, he's going to rock it, Joe.
He's going to rock it.
He's going to rock it. You can't tell me otherwise because why? Because he rolled out on a bus with his teammates at Rupp to 20,000 people?
It's kind of impressive to get the bus in the actual building. Elephant door, I guess.
It's an arena.
I'm just saying.
They all have that ability.
Now, first of all,
if Kevin Keats wanted to, he could roll an entire bus of every NC State alum he want, multiple buses.
Yeah.
Somebody can come in on Gravedigger if they wanted to. Monster Mutt. Maximum Destruction. I could keep going.
I hate that we got this
El
far.
Toro Loco.
I hate that we got this far without a "you were right, Joe." But I told you in our last get together, Kentucky is a different kind of crazy. They bought 22,000 people into a press conference, sir. Sir, that is a different level of crazy,
dude. It's just funny how we talk about these things. I mean, no, look, I could be wrong. Mark Pope could crush it, but I think we all understand that college basketball is completely different.
College basketball's changed. I mean, Kentucky's going to have a great payroll, and honestly, I do think his teams are very good on offense. That will be useful.
Cool.
It will be useful. It'll be helpful.
Let's go wrap it up for today's show. We'll see you on Tuesday.